Think tank Migration Watch has shown that the government has no plans to reduce immigration following Brexit. I've been saying this for a long time, and now Migration Watch has confirmed it. The government has absolutely no intention of reducing immigration following Brexit. Doesn't matter what you voted for, they're not going to implement it. Now, it's interesting because there's a bit of a conundrum with Brexit. It's a great thing, it's a great step forward, it's certainly not the solution to everything, but it's something really positive. The problem? Well, European immigration's not actually terrible. As long as it's in a sensible quantity, Europeans integrate more easily. We are European after all. It's not all that terrible. But what's going to happen is, when European immigration reduces because we leave the European Union, the government's going to want to maintain the high levels of immigration, which means more immigration from the third world, which is a bit of an issue. I don't want to see that happen. And for some people, I actually know on the right, as conservatives, as nationalists, say, well, actually, maybe that's a reason why we shouldn't leave the European Union, because I'd rather have European migration. I think it's a stepping stone. We're going to have to take this hit for a little while and work so that in the long run, third world immigration reduces. Bit of a conundrum, bit of a difficult one, but the fact remains the government simply doesn't want to reduce immigration. They never have wanted to. And regardless, Brexit is happening, and millions of people who voted in the referendum in 2016 are probably just assuming that the government is going to go ahead and do what they told them to do, which is to reduce immigration as a result of leaving the European Union, but it's simply not happening. Migration Watch has revealed that the government has, quote, no significant proposals for reducing immigration, despite the fact that the Tories have been promising to reduce immigration down to the tens of thousands per year ever since 2010. Every time they've won an election and formed a government, they've done so on the promise that immigration would go down to the tens of thousands, and we're still nowhere near close. I talked about this recently in a video where I said that the Tories just don't seem to be taking immigration seriously. I don't think they ever will. There's nobody really in the Conservative Party who has even come close to suggesting a good immigration policy. It's always about the economy. It's always about, the highest skilled workers, etc., etc. Cultural compatibility is never, ever taken into account, even with the so-called Conservatives, and that's a big problem. And we know that the current Home Secretary, Sajid Javid, has already released his plans for immigration post-Brexit in a white paper. And in this white paper, it sets out a new immigration system that's going to see even greater levels of immigration coming into this country. Yeah, that's not the Brexit we voted for. Chairman of Migration Watch UK, Lord Green, wrote recently for Conservative Home, and he said, despite all their promises over 8 years, not just promises but manifesto commitments, the Conservatives have given up any serious attempt to reduce immigration. If the proposals in the white paper are implemented, immigration will be far more likely to increase still further and could well spin out of control. How could that be? Consider this. Until now, high-skilled immigration, that is a degree level or higher, has been open for EU citizens but capped at 20,700 for non-EU entrants. According to the new policy, there will be no cap on either. Furthermore, employers will no longer be obliged to advertise a job in Britain before recruiting from overseas. How will British staff feel about this? There is even talk of abolishing the system of sponsorship so that anyone could bring in a worker, perhaps even a relative, as long as they said that they will be paying a salary of £30,000 a year. 2019 will be the make or break year for Brexit, but it's also going to be another year that the issue of immigration is completely forgotten about by the politicians. But they should ignore this issue at their own peril, because if they fail to acknowledge it, then they're either going to be replaced by a new moderate nationalist political party that will actually properly solve immigration, or that anger is just going to fester, and then there'll be a rise of the real far right in the UK, and it won't be pretty. You see, no matter what the press might say, it's me and it's you at home that doesn't want to see the appearance of a real far right movement in the UK. I'd much rather see a moderate, conservative and nationalist political movement in the UK that solves the immigration problem in the interests of everybody. But if the politicians keep ignoring it, some real nasty people are going to gain way too much influence. We're not funded by the government, we don't have big sponsors, and we certainly don't have massive donors. If you'd like to help support our work, please go to rebeldonations.com/thebuck.